Good evening. I hope everybody's doing well, and I hope you're going to have an amazing and wonderful day today. I'm going to be reading some Scottish ghost stories from Reddit. The first one is told by somebody, his father. So it's a story my father told me from his own experience. Back in the 1970s, he worked on various marine engineering projects on the Forth. It's a Clyde in Glasgow. And because we've got shipbuildings and things like that there. And was on this old tugboat. It had been built in Germany in the late 30s and came adorned with regalia from that period. Anyway, one night there were more offshore and the other guy asked to go ashore. So my dad's just sat in the wheelhouse drinking coffee and reading the paper. Through the door he hears this vague noise. Like someone's on board. The other guy hasn't come back as the wee launch isn't there. Radio is turned down, so he keeps listening. It's like somebody's half singing under their breath. Like when you're working on something, you know what it's like when you're working out or you're painting, you start singing or in the shower. It follows the sound and it's coming from the hatch to the engine room. Listening hard. Dad said he caught German and being a pretty assistant speaker, he could make out it was an old wartime song about a fallen comrade. At this point, my dad said he considered going down, but then figured maybe he would rather there be two people on board, just in case it isn't anything. It could have been somebody. So he got back to the wheelhouse, shut the door, and watched for his mate coming back. Because you know that on these circumstances you got to basically, because it might not be a ghost, it could be an actual human. As soon as the guy was on board, he asked about the singing. The other guy knew all about it. Seemed the boat had been strafed in the air and the crew all killed. The boat had been captured and renamed. The story was that the ship's engineer didn't want to leave, still had work to do in the engine room. But a bit eerie that hearing something that you're like, I can hear something, but you're a bit hesitant to kind of go check it out just in case, especially if you're on your own. You're like, right, I'll just wait till my friend comes or maybe your children or your partner or whatever, just in case it's nothing. Somebody's obviously put in the comments, somebody's mentioned Edinburgh. I had a weird one in Mary King's Close once. Because I've not been to Edinburgh, please get to Edinburgh. Oh my god, Edinburgh is absolutely awesome. You get the castle, but you get the dungeons, and there's other things on in Edinburgh, like the museums. There's so much to do in Edinburgh. Compared to Glasgow, there's not that much. But there's so much to do in Edinburgh. It's a beautiful and expensive city. So if you come, make sure you have money and try and go about as many things as you can. They were saying they had an experience, they had a weird experience in the Mary King's Close once. Could be explained by just having a funny turn, but it felt spooky AF. We got into the room with the mannequins of the family in bed and the plague doctor I just started feeling really, I just started feeling really weird and spacey. I lost track of what the guide was saying, felt disconnected from everything, and was overcome by the sensation that the mother in the bed was no longer a mannequin. There was a real person there, like it was just this overwhelming sensation of they didn't know. I was just swallowed up in it somehow. It's sometimes you can have that deja vu. Has anybody had that? The deja vu is like, you know, or feel something, especially if you feel something's around you, or it's in your third eye. You can see things that other people can't see. It sounds as this girl said not just an experience, but go on. When the guide said it was time to move to the next room, and I started leading people out, I turned to my friend, told her, "I'm not going anywhere. I'm going to faint," and immediately passed out. And I don't remember going down. Now I understand this, because I used to at school. No matter what, I've had tables turned upside down on top of me. Continually passed out at school. And I actually thought I had epilepsy, because it's like your hands go sweaty and your face just starts feeling dead cloy. So it does. It just goes chalk white. This happened a few years ago to me, and ended up having a mini stroke. I knew there was something wrong, but my body just kept going. I was like, no, I'm not going to collapse. And I collapsed inside my flat. And the kids are like, go to the hospital. And I'm like, no, I'll be fine. But I couldn't move my arm. But it turned out I had a mini stroke. But it's, so I understand this. And you just know something's happening to your body. It's like it's if you're there, but you're not there. You're outside of your body, but you're watching yourself just go. It's a weird sensation. While I was unconscious, I was dreaming I was walking in the street before the plague. People were going about their business. There was a smell of apples and meat and people bustling about. And then I heard someone saying, "Brave," in my ear, and I came back around. I still thought it was real when I woke up. I needed to throw up and thought there must be a basin under the bed because there was sick people in the room. Ended up puking on the floor instead. I just had a pistachio ice cream. So there was an element of The Exorcist about it. It can be explained as being a hot and stuffy down there, and that's what made me faint. But it's not like it's an unusual thing what happens to me. The staff reassured me that they do have it happen though, and they do have a vomiting cleaning kit handy, so there's that. Might not be paranormal, and I'm on the fence about it. It was a weird experience. And somebody's commented on their comment about their experience in that same room. So it must be a thing about that room. I mean, if you go in the dungeons, it's like you're in, there's light, but you can smell all the oldness. It's especially in the castle. It's like a musky smell, and it gets to your lungs. Because you think these castles have been about for thousands of years. The same with the dungeons. So you've got all that, and the heat. It can get on top of you. I was supervising a group of S1s on the tour. One wee boy was lagging behind, so I stopped to see if he was okay. He then fainted. I caught him in my arms, but the group had moved on. I therefore found myself trying to hold up an unconscious kid on my own. in the room with the plague doctor. I was just waiting for the thing to turn its head. I started shouting for help, and eventually a member of staff came back. They said, it's not unusual for people to faint in that room. It freaked him out a bit. Didn't help that I went to the next room and a girl then also fainted. So there's clearly something about that. Is it just the heat or whatever, the doubt, especially when you're in an enclosed place, or is there something more sinister? I'll let you decide that one. Somebody is saying my mum thought someone grabbed her shoulder in the same room, and they believe, and while walking up the close I started to hear noises like it was right back in those days, and the kids running past. It was surreal. If you don't know what's in close, we call them closes here in Scotland. Like you're going into your block of flats and up the stairs, we call what inside that is the close. Or you're going into your close, you're going in somebody's close. It's just suppose, I mean, it's like, what do you call your, I mean, people just call it block of flats and up the stairs, but we call it different things here. Somebody's wrote something, I'm experiencing 3 haunted houses in my life. 2 in Ayr, another place, absolutely love Ayr. 1 out on a farm in South Ayrshire. I don't believe in ghosts in the sense that they're the spirit of a dead person, but I don't have any explanation for what I experienced. I was only a small baby in a buggy at this point, so this one's just second-hand information from my mum, as in this Scottish for mum. But basically, we bought a house that needed a lot of work and never ended up living in it. The previous resident had fallen asleep with a fag is cigarette, in her mouth and sadly passed away. They burnt to death in the living room. But we didn't know this till after. In terms of spooky stuff, objects got moved around, things fell over when they shouldn't have able to, scary noises were heard. Nobody wanted to be in the house for any length of time, including tradesmen and workers. 1 plumber was in the house on his own for most of the day when my ma turned up after work. She said he was standing in the garden waiting on her and said he wasn't going back in to find someone else. Give me a wee second I'll let my cat out. Hey, come on then. Come on, girl. Let's go. Good girl. Good girl. I do apologise about that. It's obviously, I was trying to get her in ages ago for something to eat, but she was too busy sleeping. And mother cat decided to be sick on my bed. So it's a pile of washing I need to do. It's just, he overeats. Bless him. When I was 10, maybe 11 years old, we lived in a house that was on farmland. Previous occupant told my mum she knew she'd made a mistake the day she bought it, and so did we. Posting letters going missing, banging on doors, walls, shadows moving past windows and doorways, disembodied voice scared the buggers out of me. Was driven mad at night by what I called the sliding noise, which was the sound of something being dragged about. We sold the house to someone local who experienced similar things. One of the lasses in the family was similar age as me and came to ask me about it. Apparently her mum had been keeping her older sister off school because she was feared to stay alone. This is the same person that's wrote. She just obviously wrote it in a segment. This is the third bit. My sister bought a house in Ayr. This time I was an adult. Similar thing to before. Banging, spooky noises, disembodied voices, shadows catching your eye, random wet patches appearing from nowhere, which were different. They'd been on holiday and came home to find their bed drenched in what seemed to be water, but no signs of a leak or anything other than the bed being wet. Random segments of carpet would be saturated again, no signs of leak. It was if someone was walking about spilling water. Never spoke to anyone else who lived there, but we did discover signs it was happening to others. When we stripped the wallpapers off the wall, in one of the bedrooms someone had written, "God help us," over and over, all over the wall, on the walls. It was like something out of a film. And that room was the worst for noises and stuff. One time I was going down the stairs and I heard from the room that someone getting a fright when the door closed by itself. It was a stiff carpet and the door was stiff, so I don't see how the wind would have shut it. It was a spooky house. I've had experiences myself. I remember where I used to stay when I grew up. It's woodlands and farms, and my dad would take my sister and myself into there every weekend, and we absolutely loved it because there were swings and things like that, and parts of the old Roman wall, but there used to be party. It was an estate as well. In this house, it was empty. Well, I didn't think. I mean, it's like when I looked it up, there was 2 children sitting at the window, because at the window there was toys. Never ever thought about it, and I asked my dad when I was like, "There's children in that house upstairs," and he said, "That house has been empty for years." Or not. He took me to the door, and the door was padlocked shut. I always wondered who were the wee children, and I've asked other people, and they've said they've seen the same children in that house. It's now knocked down, and a wind farm's up there now, it just looks horrible. But I've had other experiences where seeing my cousin through a mirror, and then I've heard my mum's voice, because my mum passed away. It's coming up for 17 years ago now, this month. It's like heard that, and there's other things that's in the house that I remember moving into with my two oldest boys, and the man passed away. I was on holiday and I got a phone call, "Do you want to come to your house?" I said, "I'll do it when I come home." And nothing, I mean, as soon as it's like, as soon as that man passed away, I was getting the offer at home. I wasn't bothered, because spirits don't bother me at all. But I had an ashtray and it was packed. Now, the kids couldn't get to it, and I was wondering, how the heck did this ashtray pop out of this box and smash? Didn't think anything else. There's always things that was going on. And then when we were leaving that house to go to another one, I found a picture of the man in that passed away in that house. But it wasn't just the man that passed away in that house. His son also passed away in that house. So, but did it bother me? No. My daughter says she has things happening in that house. Again, somebody was killed in her house years ago, oh, it's, to me, it was like, they're just letting you know they're there. They're not going to bother you. Here's another one. First flat share I had in my early 20s on Montauk Street in Edinburgh. The other girls and I all had experience with what looked like a male figure. His presence felt pretty forbidding. If any of us went to the loo alone at night, in the middle of the night, we'd likely see him standing there by the door. Once I was eating breakfast with one of the girls in the kitchen. I'd made myself some toast with chocolate spread and washed my knife before sitting down to eat. While we were chatting at the kitchen table, the knife went flying out of the drying rack and hit the back of the wall. Somebody wrote, "Aye, ghost hate Nutella." If you've got any experiences with spirits or anything like that, have any ghost stories, put them in the comment section, and thank you to everybody that has subscribed to this channel. I honestly totally appreciate it. I'm going to read the last one before I head to my bed, because this will be posted like later on today. Okay, I wrote this one. More of a story format for some months. It is, however, completely true. I was brought up in a small village right in the middle of Fife. Fife is beautiful. Hardly anything there, but it is lovely. As a teenager, I used to go out with my friends in the nearest town. We often used to walk for 4 or so miles to home. This would happen to me and my friend one night. It was dark, wintry night, around about 1993. My friend and I had been in the town socialising with friends. When the pub closed, we decided to walk home. This would allow us to to talk about the night and to save an expensive taxi fare. Taxi fares are absolutely, they're just a rip-off. Just the same with buses as well. Although it was late, the night was clear and fresh. Being used to the walk, even the 2 graveyards we used to pass, we were in good spirits, laughing and joking all the way. We had left the town and were leaving the next village in order to take the country road to our smaller village. To get onto this road, we had to pass under the railroad. This is the main Dundee to Edinburgh route, but it was like 1 AM. We did not expect any trains to pass. Approaching the bridge, we heard a strange noise coming closer and closer. The ground began to vibrate, and we both stopped still in our tracks. Suddenly, speeding overhead, a train passed. The hairs in the back of my neck stood up, and I felt frozen to the spot. The noise was not that of an electric train, it was deafening. As the train passed, I could see in the windows there did not appear to be electric overhead lights. The carriage was illuminated by a single lamp that sat on a table next to the window. I could glimpse the suggestion of faces in the windows looking out, and the shadows of figures sitting beside the lamps as the train sped northwards in the direction of Dundee. After the train passed and the noise had disappeared into the night, myself and my friend just stared at each other, completely speechless. We knew that the train we had witnessed was not normal. Not only was it travelling in the middle of the night, it looked and sounded unlike anything we had ever seen before. And we had passed under this bridge hundreds of times. We discussed this in details as we continued home that night. We thought that maybe there was a special train travelling in the line for some strange reason, or an old-fashioned vehicle was being transported to another station. But this did not explain the lack of electric or passengers. Checking with the British Rail the next day, no train was scheduled to be passing at that time of night. To this day, we have no explanation for what we saw. We just know that we saw it. It was doomed It was the doomed train that never made it to the other side of the Tay on a fateful December night in 1879. Was it an unscheduled train, or was it two girls seeing things in the middle of the night on a quiet country road? And I'm going to leave it there and let you, the viewers, decide, my wonderful viewers. And as I said, if you've got any stories, any funny ghost stories or spooky ghost stories, leave it in the comment section. And I'm going to say, sending love and light, and good night.